That's the way it is. Oh, guys. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be on this planet of ours. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command 395 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our show tonight. We have a good show for you. Sorry we're here kind of late. I had an appointment earlier and I didn't get back in time, and I had to throw some information here on our broadcast software so I could show you what is going on. I'm going to take us back now to what happened last night after we left the air. I'm going to take us back to Imperial Valley. Okay? Remember that great Imperial Valley place just south of the Salton Sea? Well, guess what? We had a 4.2 moderate earthquake just barely south of the Salton Sea, 4 miles southwest of Nyland, California. That puts it just north of Calipatria. You remember me showing you the seismogram at Calipatria. It's full of earthquakes and tremors. Well, tonight is no exception. With this 4.2 that happened last night, let me show you something. I've been waiting to show you this literally all day long. I can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. Look at this, guys. This is the seismogram that covered that area last night and this morning. Okay? Let's go back here to last night. Okay? This covers even some of the time we were not on the air. Folks, this happened last night at 00:45 hours. Midnight, 45 minutes after midnight at the very top. And as you can see, we had a decent sized earthquake about 4 minutes after, well, actually 2:19 a.m. this morning. Okay, that looks to be about the same size as this earthquake this morning at the Salton Sea, but this isn't it. Okay, I want to show you this. Okay, I just wanted to show you what we have hitting here. Okay, we had earthquakes here before the 4.2 hit. Okay, you can see some more at 4:45 on the blue line, the lighter blue line there. It has a red line through it. The red lines here, guys, are done by the computer to get the attention of the seismologist to take a look at these earthquakes. And that's why the red lines are there. These are significant earthquakes. Okay? Look at those here. Look at that. Look at all these earthquakes. Okay? They say nothing happens at the Salton Sea. Really? Really? Nothing happens? Look at this one. Richard Smith says, holy catfish. That's what I said. Now, compare this one to this one earlier, right there. Looks about the same thing, doesn't it? Looks like just about a 4.0. Okay? A 4.0 happened. Look at this. They're claiming that this is a 4.2, and they actually reduced this to 4.12. So they reduced it by 0.8 from what it was. Okay? They're a bunch of idiots. They are stupid fools if they think we're going to allow this. Okay? We see this earthquake as well as other earthquakes that hit here. If it's the same size, this earthquake here early yesterday morning goes along with a lot of other quakes as well. The same size of vertical line. The same size vertical line would indicate that we've had multiple 4.0s, 4.4s, maybe even 4.5. You can see these here. Okay? The only difference between these you see above this one is this one lasted a while. This one lasted about 50 seconds. That's a long time for an earthquake to hit. This earthquake, they say, is a they said, at the beginning that this was a 4.2 in the Imperial Valley. It lasted almost a full minute. Then after that, the secondary wave lasted 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. The secondary wave lasted 4 minutes. Okay? Now, if I was a betting man, I would dare say that this earthquake was closer to a 5.5. And because of the people that I've talked to, the people that I spoke to down there in the Imperial Valley that felt that earthquake, they believe it was over a 5.0 earthquake. USGS put it out in the beginning as a 4.2. They downgraded it to a 4.12, which is 0.8 downgrade. Okay? Isn't that interesting? Okay? I wanted to show you that. I think it's very telling of what we have going on here. Good evening, Juan Ortega. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you here. Laura Marie, thank you for being here as well. Laura Marie's and my buddy, my friend, my pal from way back when, living in Oregon. She says it was just searching for you, and then here you are. Yes, here I am. I didn't see Juanito here. Juanito's over in over at El Centro. I wanted to ask him if he felt it. I've had 5 different people tell me that this probably was close to a 5.0 earthquake. And I believe them more than I would believe anybody else affiliated with these agencies. The agencies we've known have been lying to us for a good long time. Okay? We know we cannot depend on these agencies. But this is very, very important. An earthquake that lasted a full minute of shaking. Okay? This size would indicate that we've had numerous 4s that they deny. Numerous 4s that they deny. Then on top of all of that, okay? On top of all that, let me show you another one. Another picture here that shows what is going on over there. Okay? We've had numerous earthquakes. Okay? This, folks, was an aftershock. It was a 1.46 aftershock. But I want to show you this. Guess where the aftershock was? A football field away from the turbine facility. A football field away from the turbine facility that takes steam from the Salton Butte volcano and turns it into electricity. They take steam, folks, here out of the ground from the upper magma chambers of the Salton Butte volcano here and drag it over to the turbines to generate electricity. Okay? Now I have a huge story behind that. I have a very good story behind that to show you some more information. Folks, this is a 1.46. A 1.46. This is a 1.25. Look to the right of this 1.25. I want to show you this. I'm going to enlarge this for you. Okay? I want to show you this. Remember me telling you about drill points, where men have drilled into the surface of the earth in the crust to either get oil and gas or steam from the volcanoes. Just to the right of that white box that you see there, those are drill points where they drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Salt Butte volcano. Okay? This extends for miles. Those drill points there extend for miles and miles and miles. And they have other drill points as well. Now, I originally thought that they had 6 different turbine facilities. I just found out tonight that they have 10. Demon Catman, thank you for the information. Demon Catman sent me some information because some of you didn't agree that they had thrown treated sewage, treated water down into the volcano magma chambers, and that's exactly what they do. I'll be explaining that in just a minute. We've had a total of 6 aftershocks and 1 foreshock of this alleged 4.2 earthquake down here in the Imperial Valley. And as you can see on the seismogram at Calipatria, we had a lot of earthquakes yesterday, a ton of them, into last night. Again, USGS doesn't give a rat's frosty keister who knows about it. The people in the Imperial Valley have told me in the past as well as today, yes, we feel shaking all the time. But the agency denies it. They only show on the map. Let me show you the USGS map here. They show on the USGS map not much. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you the South Pacific here in just a few minutes. But I have some other things I want to show you here on this map in the Salton Sea. Then we'll go back down to the South Pacific, because again, the agency's lying. They're not showing hardly any earthquakes, and they did show it this morning. So they took them down prematurely. Okay? They took them down prematurely. Okay, let's go up here to where this earthquake allegedly occurred. Okay? Look at the small swarm of quakes. This is the 4.2. They downgraded to 4.1. 4.12. Okay? That happened at 1:38 a.m. Eastern Time. 3:38 Mountain Time. No, I'm sorry. It happened 11:38 Mountain Time and 9:38 Pacific Time. Okay? Then this one. This is an aftershock. It's a 1.4 tremor. Folks, this is an aftershock as well. It's a 1.6. This earthquake here is an aftershock. It happened just after 8 a.m. this morning. Okay? Let's go over here. This is a 1.1. This happened at almost 9 o'clock, 08:57 a.m. this morning. This earthquake right here. This is the kicker here. This is the only foreshock, and it was a 1.5 foreshock. And as you can see on the Calipatria seismogram, there are a lot more earthquakes than this. USGS is not showing you. Earthquakes and tremors that they're not showing you. Then on top of that, okay, let's go down to the city of Brawley. Now, I've done a debate tournament in Brawley. I have friends in Brawley. Let me show you something else. This is a 1.3 tremor. Okay? 3.4 miles deep. This is a 1.3 tremor, also 5.3 miles deep. Okay? This is just south of Brawley, California. Okay? Isn't that interesting? This 1.8 is 2 miles deep. I want to show you the big one, how deep it was. This is 1.9 miles deep. None of these earthquakes to the north were deep at all. None of them. But these earthquakes down here in Brawley, it's just a little bit different story. These are deeper. 3.4 miles deep. This one's 5.3 miles deep. Twice as deep as any of the others that hit to the north. Now, someone told me that, hey Ron, you're not telling everybody that there's other ancillary faults around here. Yes, there are. There are many other ancillary faults here in the Imperial Valley. This is below sea level for the most part. The entire Imperial Valley here is below sea level. Okay? There are other faults here besides the San Andreas. And you can see the San Andreas here running down the east side of the Salton Sea. Okay? As it comes up out from underneath the Salton Sea, right here where these earthquakes hit, it makes an extreme southwesterly turn. It almost goes straight southwest, paralleling the southern side of the Salton Sea until it gets down about midpoint. Then it makes a quick, sharp right turn and heads south. Heads south right here to Brawley. Heads south right here to Brawley where you see these earthquakes here. Okay? Isn't that interesting? The Imperial Fault, they call it. When the San Andreas Fault up here enters the Imperial Valley up here, just north of the Salton Sea, they term it the Imperial Fault. It's the same thing. Okay? The Imperial Fault, we have this small swarm of earthquakes just on the south end of the Salton Sea, and then later we have all these other earthquakes in Brawley. And actually there's a lot more than this, but USGS doesn't want us to see it, do they? Oh no, heaven forbid. So guys, you see what you see, okay? Vicky Case says, Isaiah's granny is always very good to see you. Yes, Isaiah's granny is a great lady. I know her very well. But guys, this is just a sampling of what we had to see coming. This is only a sampling. I believe there's greater earthquakes in this, larger earthquakes in this coming. It's literally the amount of time. It's the amount of time. Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. In fact, the only thing I have that you can even see through is my water bottle that sits on my desk. The only thing it tells me is when I see this water shaking inside the bottle, it tells me there's a tremor beneath my feet. I might not feel it, but when I see this water shaking in my bottle, and it doesn't shake this violently at all you see is a slight shake of the water. But when I see this water shake, I'm going, okay, just had a tremor. And yes, I've seen it happen. Okay? I'm just wanting you guys to know what is happening down here in the southern part of Southern California. We talked about it yesterday. I showed you an overall increase in seismicity in quakes in the Imperial Valley and over in the Los Angeles area and even out in the desert area, and I showed you an increase just off the coast as well. Channel Island was a big one. Okay? I showed you several seismograms showing you increased seismicity. It is increasing. LA is going to get hit. It is literally almost a flip of a coin when LA is going to get hit. I promise you. It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. They haven't had a good quake in a very long time. It's going to happen. One other earthquake right here next to the border, and I mean literally, this is right next to the border. It's a 1.1 tremor down here. Progreso, Mexico. Progreso, Mexico. Okay? Then we go up here into San Diego County. USGS is saying, oh, this is a 0.6 in Julian. Yes, it is. But folks, they're not showing us much of anything. Okay? It's a sad state of affairs when they don't show us much of anything. Okay? I get a little heartburn when I see them disregarding all of us. Oh my gosh. There were 3 other earthquakes there in San Diego today. One was in Chula Vista. They took it off. They had one in Pine Valley as well, not just Julian. The one in Julian was a 0.6 microquake. The one in Chula Vista they claimed was a 1.7 explosion, trying to pawn it off as a quarry blast. Nowhere near a quarry blast. Actually, it was right next door to a street with residences on it, homes. Okay? They're trying to pawn it off as a quarry blast, and it wasn't. Okay? We go north here. This is the Anza Gap, the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. We go north again. That was a 0.7 microquake. This is a 0.7 in Idlewild and another 0.4 in Idlewild. We go north here. Okay? These earthquakes are on the Elsinore Fault, as well as this in Beaumont, California. Interesting. How about this one here? Loma Linda Medical Center, guys. This is a 1.7 tremor. A 1.7 tremor. Then we go north here, just west of the San Andreas Fault here. This is Rialto, California, a 0.5 microquake. And then down here in Home Gardens, guys, Home Gardens, let's look at this. I love this. I get the biggest charge out of it. USGS is calling for a 1.8 quarry blast. A 1.8 quarry blast, 1/3 of a mile into the ground. Yes, this could be. It's literally right next to the quarry. Probably within a mile and a half of this quarry here. Okay? So yes, this could have been. But folks, look where it's at. It's right next to a road here. Literally right next to a road. Do you think they would detonate this area right next to a road? I question that. I question that one. Then we go up here to the north. This might be a mile and a half from this quarry here. Okay? This one's a 1.1 tremor quarry blast. Again, 3/10 of a mile deep. But this one is probably close to 3 miles away. 3 miles away. Is it a tremor? 1.1 tremor? Possibly. You never know with these people. You never know. This quarry blast, if that's what it is further away from the houses than the last few quarry blasts we've shown you here, that were very close, less than a half mile away from the homes. Now, you wouldn't blast those homes, would you? Oh, heavens no. They wouldn't do that. They're smarter than that. At least I hope they are. Okay? But that's what's going on here in Southern California, and a lot more. Again, they're not showing us everything. Heaven forbid they do. It's impossible for them to even do this. One day, somebody's going to take over USGS and kick some fanny. We hope. We hope. Anyway, over here in San Francisco Bay Area, we had one quake here. This is 1 mile east of Pacifica. It's a 1.2 tremor here. A 1.2 tremor here, a mile east of Pacifica, California. I've been in Pacifica. It's a beautiful area. It's a stunning area. Golf courses and everything else. But that's what we have here. This is in the mountainous region, the mountainous part of Pacifica. And down here near the shoreline, there's a golf course right there. And I've seen deer on that golf course. Lots of fun, huh? Lots of fun. Just south and east of San Francisco, Alum Rock on the Hayward Fault. A 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 earthquake, Alum Rock on the Hayward Fault. 4 miles deep. This is a 2.5 south of there on the same fault, the Hayward Fault, east-northeast of Morgan Hill, California. 2.5 earthquake, minor earthquake. That's just northeast of Monterey Bay. The only thing we have south of Monterey Bay is at the Pinnacles, which is an oil and gas pumping area, as well as right on top of the San Andreas Fault here. Then we go south from there. This is San Lucas, a 0.9 microquake, 1.0 tremor. We go further south here to Parkfield, the California capital of earthquakes, Parkfield, California, a 1.1 tremor. Okay? Lots of fun here. Lots of fun. And we continue north here. Okay? We go up to the geysers, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about the geysers. I'm going to talk to you more about the Salton Sea in a few minutes. Look at the earthquakes here. Look at all these earthquakes here. Most of these are just tremors. Yes, we have had some 3s. We had one 4.5, I believe, early this year. This one's a 1.8. A 1.8. Okay? Now, let me zoom in on this. Okay? Just want to show you. Every road you see here is lined with a white PVC pipe carrying steam from the Clear Lake volcano that's north of here. Every roadway here is lined with PVC pipe to carry the steam to one of the turbine facilities. This is not one of the turbine facilities, but right next to it here we have a drill point. In fact, I'm going to center this right in the middle of your screen right now. You're looking at drill points there. There is some kind of facility right next to it, but it's not a turbine facility. The turbine facility is right there. This is a turbine facility. And unfortunately, they're not letting me get any closer than this to show you. But that's the turbine facility here. Anyway, we're going to talk more about what's going on here at the geysers and what's going on over at the Salton Sea in a few minutes. This is the Clear Lake volcano just north of the geysers. So you have a good idea of what we're talking about. Okay? Let's go up here to Cascadia. Remember that 4.4 magnitude earthquake we had up here just right on the corner of the Blanco fracture zone and the Gorda Ridge here? Well, today we've got a 2.5. A 2.5 just northwest of that. Okay? It's nothing to be shook about. Don't excuse the pun. It's really nothing to get shook about. Minor quake over here in the Cascadia subduction zone region. That's all fine and dandy. Out in East Oregon, Lacombe, Oregon, we have a 1.0 tremor. I'm going north here. Okay? This, folks, they have is a 0.0 surface quake. Where is it? It's at Mount St. Helens. It's a 3.9 mile deep quake. No, it's not a surface quake, USGS. This is 3.9 miles deep, 4 miles deep. There's no way in heck it can be a surface quake. Okay? Then, almost right down the throat of this volcano. Right here. Right at the rim. And this one's deep as well. This is a 1.1 mile deep. Okay? Probably 4,000 feet deep. I'm sorry, not 4,000. 5,280 is a mile, so we go like 5,300 feet deep. Then over here, yes, this is right down the throat as well. 7/10 of a mile deep inside the volcano's chamber here. The magma chamber. A 0.1 microquake. Folks, this is silly. There's a lot of earthquakes here and tremors. They're just not showing them. And for them to say there's a 0.0 or a 0.1 microquake here, what a joke. And then a 0.0 surface quake, I find that appalling. Okay? Northeast of there, this is a 0.6 microquake as well. 10.6 miles deep. Okay? There's got to be a magma chamber down there for those kind of quakes. We go up north here. Concrete, Washington, a 2.0 earthquake. This is like the second or third earthquake we've had up here in Concrete, Washington in the last 30 days. North of there, this is a 1.3. 10 miles deep. 10 miles deep. We go over to Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Guess what we have? Can you guys guess what that yield sign means? Another explosion. A wonderful explosion. Look at this. Out in a forested area again. Out in a forested area. An explosion. No, I don't believe it. It's at least a 0.8 microquake, if not a tremor. This is also 1/10 of a mile deep. There's no quarry there. There's no reason to be blasting 1/10 of a mile deep. Over here, let me let that picture resolve itself here. Right there. Guess what? There's a quarry long distance from there. A couple quarries there and some office buildings, I guess. And this is way out here, several miles away. Okay? And because it's where it is, this is also in the Cascadia subduction area, the region of that area. Okay? Does anybody have any questions so far about what we've told you today? What we've shown you today? I know we've hurried up through this to make sure we get it all. Don Patoka says, squirrels, Ron? No, I haven't seen any squirrels since early this morning. Don might be referring to a picture of some squirrels dancing in the snow that I posted on my Facebook page this morning. Happy hump day. One squirrel was dancing on his feet, and another squirrel was laying on his back, crunching on a nut or something, looking like he was having fun. I said, happy hump day. Yeah, it's a good day. Yeah, Richard Smith says those spontaneous combustions carnivoruses are coming after humanity. Yeah, that's what they'd like to think. That's what they'd like us to think. Over here in the Gulf of Alaska, guys, a 3.3 small earthquake here. It's on the Aleutian Island fault zone. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all these earthquakes here. Northwest of Denali, we have a 3.2 earthquake. Minchumina, Alaska. I've never heard of that town before. Minchumina, Alaska, a 3.2 magnitude earthquake. And, not to be outdone, but here in Denali, we have another 3.1 here. This appears that it is just northeast of that great big huge mountain there. Mount McKinley. It either is on or it's just northeast of Mount McKinley here. That's where it's at. Fun and games, huh? This is a craton area, guys. This huge, almost U-shaped craton here has mountains here with earthquakes and tremors all around it. And then a separate craton down here. Okay? I'm going to over to one of these red and they just did me in here. Dadgum them. Let me bring it back. You know, they only started this since I've been on this new channel. And it makes me laugh. If they think that they can take me down by disrupting my signal, and I've already figured out how to defeat it, you know, they're probably laughing out of the other side of their mouths. It's ridiculous. Okay? Now I wanted to show you something over here. This is McKenzie, Alaska. This is 0.9, 1.0 tremor here in McKenzie, Alaska. Further northeast here, this is a 1.4. This is right next to Anchorage. That tremor 1.4 is right next to Anchorage. Going north here, they're saying this is southern Alaska. It's a 2.1 earthquake here. 2.1 earthquake, and I think it's near Elmendorf Air Force Base here, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? The other earthquake I want to talk to you about is a 2.3 here near Roadhouse, Alaska. Now they might have a Roadhouse restaurant. I don't know. I just, off the top of my head. Roadhouse, Alaska with a 2.3 earthquake. Okay? Yes, we're getting large earthquakes here. This is Alaska. Today it has about 69 earthquakes and tremors. 69 earthquakes and tremors all throughout Alaska here. Over here, down here on the east side of the panhandle here. Okay? The peninsula. There's a 2.8, and they say this is 29 miles south of Chignik, Alaska. Okay. Over here on the other side, the west side, this is Nelson Lagoon. This is another 3.4 magnitude earthquake. 19 miles northwest of Nelson Lagoon here in Alaska, on the peninsula here. Okay? Now you don't see too much else going on down here until you get over here to the Kamchatka Peninsula, and they just happen to take these down. Right here near this island. And I understand that Russia owns this island here, and that's fine and good. There's a 4.1 and a 4.9 and a 5.1 earthquake side by side here. Earlier today, they took them down. A 4.9 and a 5.1 sitting here on the Aleutian Island Fault right next to this island. They're gone. Go figure. Go down here in the Kuril Islands. This is another 4.9, 5.0 earthquake in the Kuril Islands. These are, for the most part, unoccupied islands belonging to Russia. Okay? We go almost straight west. This is also Sokolosk, Alaska. Actually, I think I mispronounced it. Sokolosk, Alaska. A 4.3 earthquake. Okay? But again, they're not showing everything. Over here in the Sea of Okhotsk, yesterday we had a 5.7. Okay? Go figure. Today, all they want to show us is over here in Papua New Guinea being a 4.8 moderate quake. Really? How about over here to the west? This is the China-Myanmar border area. This is a 4.4. Okay, granted, a 4.4, 8.4 miles deep. Okay. Well, guess what? They're missing an earthquake here in Australia. They're not showing you an earthquake in Australia, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you right now. There it is. Lake Eyre, Southern Australia. Okay? Almost in central Australia. Just the other day, further down here to the southwest, we had a 3.4. Okay? It seems like we're having 3.4s all over Australia. And look at all these earthquakes here in Indonesia, just north of there. And what have they shown you? Absolutely not a thing. They don't want you to know what's happening. They don't want anybody to know. Okay? Now, I'm just going to take you on a brief tour here. I want to go over here in Europe and show you what's going on, just for kicks and giggles. First stop here, I'm going over here to the Fiji region. This is a 4.5 down here in the South Pacific. Okay? 302 miles deep. That's interesting too. 302 miles. It sounds like this earthquake here is going to propagate a 5.3, 5.4 large earthquake. This is a moderate 4.5 down here in South Fiji. It's going to propagate a large earthquake. This one here, look at this, guys. This is a 5.7. This is a large 5.7 earthquake, also in the Fiji region. The difference between the 4.7 and this is it's, again, 100 times stronger. And this one's also 371 miles deep. So this 5.7 is going to propagate a 6.8 to a 7.0 earthquake. It's going to propagate a 6.8 to a 7.0 earthquake here in the South Pacific, or over there towards Papua New Guinea, or it could go over east into Chile or Argentina here, or even less than that over here in the Easter Island area here. Yes, it could hit here, but meaning what we say, we're going to have a major earthquake right down in this region. A major earthquake in this region. There are other earthquakes here today too. But heaven forbid, they talk about it. Look at all these earthquakes. Okay? They're showing this one here on the US map that is the Solomon Islands. They're saying, no, I'm sorry, that's not Solomon Islands. No, that's Papua New Guinea. There was one here in the Solomon Islands too, and they've taken it down. There was one in the Solomon Islands, they've taken it down. Okay. New Zealand, the Kermadec Islands. There's a 4.1 there. Okay? Down here in the Catcher's Mitt, the Bay of Plenty. Here we have a 3.0 earthquake in the Bay of Plenty. Look what it's next to. We have an undersea mount volcano. Several of them. An undersea mount volcano here in the Bay of Plenty. I just thought that was interesting. Okay? Then we come down here just south of the Bay of Plenty. There's a reason I'm showing you this. This is a 2.94. Okay? 3.0 earthquake. Just north of the super volcano, Topo volcano, we have a 2.85. Right next to the super volcano. Okay? Incredible. Then further south, we have 5 earthquakes on the southern tip of the North Island here. Okay? 2 of them out here in the Cook Strait. A 2.59, a 2.59, and a 2.26. 2 earthquakes right back to back. 2.59 and 2.26. Further out here in the Cook Strait, we have a 2.28. Why am I showing you this? Because there's a lot of activity here, and activity breeds more earthquakes. When we have these swarms like we're having here, we're going to have a large earthquake there. Okay? Then south of Christchurch, this is Canterbury, New Zealand, a 2.4 earthquake. Then we go down to South Park, Minaret Bay, Otago, New Zealand, a 2.86. South Park National Park, and then off the coast. Here is a 3.62. A 3.62 south of Tasmania. Okay? Just thought you ought to know. Just thought you ought to know. Now with everything else going on, there's a lot of other things going on as well. Southern Mexico. It's been a slow day here at the Riviera. Mazatlan, Manzanillo, Zihuatanejo, Acapulco, Puerto Vallarta. It's been a slow day. A 3.5, a 3.8, a 3.4, and a 3.7. Right here in the Riviera of Mexico. Well, guys, look here. Look at all the earthquakes here. There's about 34 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 34 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Yeah, I went down there and counted them. Look at all the earthquakes in South America. 18 earthquakes up and down the whole shoreline. In Chile. And 10 more here near Tarapaca here. 10 more here in Tarapaca, Chile, northern Chile. Yes, these are 2s and 3s, but still, USGS shows none. Zero zilch. What's the issue with that? In Africa, 3 quakes. Okay? Over near the Persian Gulf. Near the Persian Gulf. 4.75. 4.75. South of there, this is Tanzania. This is a 4.5 as well. In Tanzania, Eastern Africa. Then we go down to the Southern Africa area. This is a 3.5 earthquake here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of that town. There's a 3.5 earthquake there. So Africa is getting hit. Iran's gotten hit. A 3.1, 3.4. This is just south of the Caspian Sea. And right up near the north side of the Persian Gulf, we've got a 3.2. North there on the western Persian Gulf in Azerbaijan, we have a 3.0. Look at the earthquakes over in Turkey. 74 earthquakes in Turkey today. They're showing here on the EMSC map of 50 plus. 74 earthquakes over there in Turkey today, the Turkey-Syria area. It's not going to get any less than that. I promise you, it's not going to be any less than that. They just got through having literally a mega thrust earthquake there, a 9 to a 10.0 earthquake, and they're still having 75 earthquakes to 100 earthquakes a day. A lot of these earthquakes now are less painful. They're tremors. They're tremors. Small earthquakes, 3.0 to 3.9. Some are even 2.0 to 2.9 minor quakes. But these quakes, their swarms, can also come into a larger earthquake. A larger, shallow earthquake. There is still a lot going on over here. Over here in the Turkey-Syria area. They're getting nailed. That's typically what happens. Now, I want to show you this. This is important. Look what's happening here in the Dupage Islands here. This is over on the western side of Turkey. Okay? These islands belong to Greece. Look at all these earthquakes here. I'm just going to pick a couple of them for kicks and giggles. A 1.5, a 1.3, a 1.2. Further south here, we have a 2.8. But these earthquakes over here on the far western side of Turkey, out in the Mediterranean, are in the Dupage Islands, guys, and they're getting hit. Over at Crete, this is a 3.3. 3.3 in Crete. Then over here in Greece, look what we have here in Greece. That circle there is 10 plus earthquakes right there. There's like 30 earthquakes in that area. 30 earthquakes there in Greece. Okay? That's quite a lot of them. Over here to the east is a 1.6 tremor. Look at where it's at. It's on the fault. A lot of these earthquakes are on the fault line. Northern Greece. We go further to Macedonia. We have a 3.1 and a 2.1 up here in Macedonia. That's north of Greece. Okay? Just wanted to let you know. Just want to let you know. Look what's going on in Italy. Look at Italy and Sicily. Covered in quakes. Most of these are just tremors. Yes, we've had some 2s and 3s here, but most of these earthquakes are 1s and 2s. Literally covering the entire boot of Italy. Going down into Sicily as well. Just off the coast of Panama, we just had a 6.0 earthquake. Just south of Panama. Let me take this USGS map over here to Panama and see if they're even covering it. They're not even showing it. They're not even showing it. Now guys, the rest of Europe, look at, I want to show you this. Look at the rest of Europe. Italy, Croatia, Romania, Spain, France, Switzerland, Germany, Spain, all covered in quakes. How about up here in Norway? 1.2 tremor in central Norway. Actually, east central Norway. Okay? Southwest from there is Inlandet. Inlandet, Norway, a 1.70. That's a 1.70 there. Norway's been getting hit, so is Sweden. This is Vestland. This is western coastline of Norway. This is a 1.7. I'm sorry. This is a 1.7 on the coast of Norway here. Okay? There's a lot going on here. Now Finland, over by the Finnish-Russian border, we have a 1.6 earthquake. 1.6 earthquake here at the Finnish-Russian border. Okay? Nothing showing here with the USGS. Not a thing. Nothing in Iceland here either. We have a lot of earthquakes over here at the volcano here in Iceland. 10 plus quakes there. Look at all these other quakes. All over the island here. Okay? Look at that. Most are alongside the earthquake fault. The Atlantic Ridge, the North Atlantic Ridge here. Look at all these earthquakes. They're following the fault line. None of these earthquakes are big at all. Okay? Most of them are tremors. 1.5, 1.6, 1.8. That's all these are. One more here. This is a 1.0. There. In the center, near the center of the country, Dreki, Iceland, we have a 1.0 and a 2.2. 1.0 and a 2.2. Again, it's right next to the earthquake fault. Okay? Now, so we've taken care of that. Right next to the mid-Atlantic fault, we have a 2.3. This is in the, doggone it. Sorry guys. Okay. I hate that. These two earthquakes up here, right next to the mid-Atlantic fault here, in the north here, are just tremors here, belonging to the Azore Islands here. Belonging to the Azore Islands. Really quickly. Okay? You see the Azore Islands here. Okay? You see a long, skinny island here. We have a volcano there. We had an island evacuation a while back because this place was getting hit really bad. Fortunately, the volcano did not erupt. You see some other islands here as well. Okay? So we have earthquakes over there in the islands of Azores out near the mid-Atlantic Ridge. Now, those of you that have heard me talk about the Atlantic Ridge expanding, it is. See that entire North Atlantic Ridge? It's going west and it's going east. This mid-Atlantic Ridge here that you see here on the USGS map, it's moving south-southwest and east. Okay? It's pushing Africa to the east. It's pushing North America to the west. It's causing earthquakes all up and down the entire east coast of Canada and the United States. And of course, this agency does not tell us about it. They have a memory about as good as a toad. Okay? They're not showing much of anything. Look at this. Newburgh, Ontario, Canada. That's a 1.59 here. That's a 1.59. Now, further north up here, right up here near just south of this cove, we had a 2.59. A 2.59 here earlier. They've taken it down. Okay? Why am I telling you this? This is just one more showing evidence of why we're getting these earthquakes. Down here in Ohio, this has to do with the Pneumatic Fault. Okay? This is a 2.43. A 2.43 over here in Otway, Ohio, or Otway, Ohio. Okay? Now, south of there, over in the center of the Pneumatic Fault, in Morrison, Missouri, we have a 2.01.99 earthquake. They say it's a 1.99 tremor. No, it's not. It's a 2.0 earthquake here in Morrison, Missouri. Okay? Anybody says that the Pneumatic Fault is not moving isn't paying attention. It's not paying attention. For the USGS to only show one earthquake over here on the pneumatic fault, they should have their heads examined. We have all kinds of earthquakes, 3.0s, 3.5s, and even 4.0s hitting Arkansas and Missouri, and even 1.5s and 2.0s down in the southern part of Louisiana. They don't want to tell anybody. They want to keep it to themselves. I don't understand it. I just don't. Smiley, Texas over here. Smiley, Texas down here in the south. This is a 2.3 earthquake, oil and gas quake. Smiley, Texas. We get these all the time down here in Smiley. You can already see the oil and gas plots here. This is a 2.3 oil and gas quake down here in southern Texas. Okay? Now, I want to go and show you what happened last night down in the Salton Sea and what is going on over in the geysers. So if you guys would just hang in here with me and let me go here and show you what is happening, I think you will be greatly interested in what we have to show you. So please hang in here with us, okay? Maybe I ought to zoom in here. The first one I want to go to that we're going to be talking about here is over here in the geysers. Okay? There was some question about where they get their water. What is happening over in the geysers area? Why have we drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano here to the north? That's a Clear Lake volcano. Why have we done that? What are we doing? What in Sam Hill are we doing? Can anybody tell me what we're doing? Why? We're pulling steam out of that volcano to power turbines to generate electricity. Plain and simple. We're pulling steam out of the Clear Lake volcano to generate electricity. Now, I want to show you something. This time I'm going to use my new handy dandy tablet. I want to show you one of these places. Okay? Hang tight, guys. This is good. This is going to be real good. Okay? This is in the geysers. Why did it do that? This is the geysers here. Like I told you, there are many, many drill points all over this area. I believe there's over 400 drill points where they have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano. Drill points look just like this. They look just like that. Those are drill points in the geysers. We just got through showing you when we talked about that earthquake from last night what was going on there and why. Guys, that volcano is supplying steam to turn turbines. Now, I want to show you a turbine complex here. Right here. This is one of 80 turbines. This is one complex here. There are 9 turbines here. This is in the geysers. Okay? This is just one facility. There are a total of 80 turbines all over the geysers area. Okay? That's for that. So you know what we're talking about. this has deep implications for all of us. Okay? Literally. Now, here's a proof that I'm going to tell you about about our authorities using wastewater and sewage to gain more steam from both the Salton Butte volcano and the geysers. Okay? And the geysers. Why are they doing that? So they can keep up with the growing population, not just there in Northern California, but literally all over California, because there's another one there over at Coza Volcano. Another facility over in the Coza Volcano, Mojave Valley area. Geothermal plant. It's called the Devil's Kitchen. But here in the geysers, they're pulling steam, but they're also adding wastewater, treated sewage into the volcano upper magma chamber so it can continue to generate steam. The geysers is a vapor-dominated geothermal resource. Vapor-dominated geothermal resource. Steam is the vapor they're talking about. Gaseous steam exits the reservoir of the volcano. The reservoir of the volcano, the magma chamber, is found at a depth of about a mile or so, and it has a temperature of 500 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. The geysers was the first developed commercial plant in the 1960s, with Union Oil Company drilling wells and supplying steam to a power plant built by Pacific Gas and Electric in Sonoma County. Remember Pacific Gas and Electric? We've talked a lot about them over the years. Okay? So Pacific Gas and Electric pulls steam or pulls electricity from this power plant. During the 1960s through the 1980s, more wells were drilled and more power plants were built as companies competed to harness the unique energy supply, the new energy resource. When steam production and generation peaked in 1987, it revealed that the reservoir, the upper magma chamber, could not renew itself as quickly as it was being depleted. So they were pumping steam out of the upper magma chamber of this volcano faster than the volcano could renew the steam it had. Why? Where did that steam come from and why? Okay? This is a very interesting situation here. Why do we have steam at that volcano? 6 to 7% of all magma is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. And as I said, we were taking more steam out of that upper magma chamber than it could renew itself. So they decided to pump water, treated sewage, back into the volcano to keep the reservoir filled so they could continue to pull steam out of the volcano's magma chamber. Okay? The problem was not a depletion of heat, but rather a depletion of the fluid to carry the heat to the surface. A number of power plants had to be retired and operations had to be consolidated and coordinated to make the best use of the steam. Water injection at the geysers was for many years solely for the disposal of fluid condensed from the steam. Us pulling the steam out of the magma chamber into the turbines to generate electricity. Okay? That was years it went for us to pull steam from the volcano. But the volcano couldn't keep up with the amount of water that it needed. When it was discovered that injection could help replenish the reservoir, the geysers operators began searching for additional resources. Of course, the only source was from local streams, and such water could only be extracted during seasonal rains and under strict control by other agencies, such as the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and others. In the 1990s, as the population of the area grew in the region surrounding the geysers, local municipalities began having wastewater disposal problems. As the communities grew all over Sonoma County, they had to figure out how to get rid of wastewater. Seasonal precipitation overwhelmed sewer systems as well, and treatment facilities were overwhelmed and forced the dumping of treated wastewater into local streams and rivers, which polluted the streams and rivers. A proposal was made to transport treated wastewater to the geysers by pipelines for injection into the geothermal reservoir, the volcano. This would solve both the wastewater disposal problem and help replenish the geothermal resource, the steam. The water was tertiarily treated and was classified as reclaimed water, suitable for agricultural use and even human consumption. In 1997, the 29-mile Lake County pipeline was constructed from the east to bring reclaimed water to the southeast portion of the geysers. The water was injected into the reservoir, the upper magma chamber, and the results were immediate: steam. As they injected this treated wastewater, right into the magma chamber, it immediately developed into steam. They're lucky. They're lucky. What if that magma had been volatile down there in that magma chamber? And that water coming into the magma chamber a lot cooler than the magma. They risked an explosion, but this time they won. 5 years later, 2002 now, the Santa Rosa pipeline was built to transport more reclaimed water 40 miles from the southwest at the city of Santa Rosa. The water was injected into the central and northwest portions of the geysers geothermal field. The supplemental injection projects have helped stabilize steam production and increase steam quality through the past decade. Operators have also made improvements to the power plants, like the one I just showed you. They made improvements to the turbine facilities to increase the power generation derived from a given amount of steam. California State Lands Commission got involved. The geysers in the Salton Sea geothermal fields. Okay, all of a sudden the state gets involved. This is updated as of June 2015. The geysers in the Salton Sea geothermal fields. Disposal problems help replenish the geothermal resource. The water was tertiary treated and classified as reclaimed water. Okay? So all that area where Lake County is, that great big huge volcano there, they started reclaiming water from that area. A lot of people with big homes over there, the authorities didn't know how to get rid of the wastewater, and so they started the project. Like I said, the results were immediate. 5 years later, the Santa Rosa pipeline was built to transport even more reclaimed water, and all of a sudden we had a boom of steam. a boom of steam, replenished from the depleted steam that they have taken out of the volcano. The supplemental injection projects have helped to stabilize the steam production and the quality of the steam. Like I said, operators have also made improvements to the turbine facilities, the power plants, to generate a certain amount of electricity. Okay? At present time, there are 424 production wells. Those are the wells that I showed you, drill points at the geysers. 424 production wells at the geysers, producing 125 billion pounds, 62.5 million tons of steam per year. 62.5 million tons of steam per year. 88 wells used for injection of water. They have 424 production wells. 88 were used for injection of water to put that water back into the volcano. The injection wells handle 96 billion pounds of water, 48 million tons per year, equating to 22,400 gallons per minute, or 248 gallons per minute per well. 248 gallons per minute per well. Therefore, 77% of the mass withdrawn from the reservoir, the upper magma chamber of the Clear Lake volcano, is replaced on an annual basis as we pump water into the volcano. It's immediately turned into steam. Water injection at the geysers occurs in the geothermal reservoir, the magma chamber, a mile or more deep, and not into the near surface aquifers. That treated wastewater does not go into the aquifers, nor into the streams or rivers any longer. Okay? The water supplies are sealed by caprock, which precludes injection water, treated water, from affecting the groundwater supply. The geysers field, as we have talked about before, is in Sonoma and Lake counties, covering roughly 35 square miles in the Mayacamas Mountains. It has reserved mineral interest in roughly a third of that area. California has reserved mineral rights in a third of that area, with more than 7,000 acres currently under lease. Wells are located on state leases include 25% of the total steam production. Okay? State leases. Total 25% of the total steam production. 1/4 of it. And wells on federal leases, even the federal government has their hands in this, guys. Federal leases include 30%. So the federal government is getting 30%, the state of California is getting 25%. Wells on private leases include about 45% at present time. 424 wells produce a combined total of 125 billion pounds of water, steam. 125 billion pounds, 62.5 million tons of steam per year. The turbine generating units there are converting it at about 8.4. 8.4 is the percentage. Over 8.4 million megawatt hours. Over 8.4 million megawatt hours per year, or an instantaneous output of 955 megawatts. enough to supply power to approximately 1.2 million Californians. That's what's happening up there at Clear Lake and the geysers. Now let's go back down and talk about the Salton Butte volcano. Let me back this out here. Did it freeze on me again? Yeah, it froze. Hold on a second, guys. We're going to have to play with this again. Sorry, guys. I hate them playing games. What a joke. Okay. Let's go back over here to the Salton Butte volcano. Okay? Where we have those earthquakes. Where we have these earthquakes. And folks, I can go into this and show you this earthquake here. See that supposed 4.1, 4.2 earthquake right next to one of those steam generating turbine facilities right here, just to the lower center of your slide here. You can see the geothermal plant here. You can see the turbines here. You can see them clearly. So let's talk about what is going on at the geysers. Okay? The Salton Sea geothermal field is located on the southeast shore of the Salton Sea. This geothermal reservoir, the volcano, upper magma chambers of the volcano, is again liquid dominated. The resource itself, the magma chamber, exists as high temperature saline brine. It's salt water. Salt water because of the environment where the volcano is. Salt water. Okay? Now, when brought to the surface, a portion of that brine flashes to steam, which is used to generate electricity. The remaining brine is injected back into the reservoir. The Salton Sea geothermal reservoir is about 1 mile deep with a temperature of 575 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. The field here was first developed in the 1980s, as the geysers was the 1960s. The field was first developed in the 80s, more than 2 decades after the geysers was. The dissolved solids in the brine cause pipelines and injection wells to become plugged with precipitates, with the brine and other pollution. It took years of research to mitigate this problem. One method was to remove the solids prior to injection. Okay? Another was to keep the salts in solution by modifying the pH levels of the water. The Salton Sea field here was also more expensive to develop, as the production facilities and power plants require more specialized hardware and equipment to accommodate the chemicals. The developed portion of the Salton Sea field covers about 10 square miles there. 10 square miles, literally all over the southern area of the Salton Sea. I have found this area here, just south of the Salton Sea. I have found six production facilities, and I found a 7th further south. This is the area where they're claiming 10 square miles of surface area that's available for them to go in to the upper magma chambers of the Salton Butte volcano to get steam. Okay? The present 10 power 437 megawatts installed capacities. There are 48 production wells in the field producing over 265 billion pounds of brine, 265 pounds of salt per year, and 41 injection wells injecting just over 220 billion pounds of spent brine per year. Injection is primarily for the purpose of brine disposal. The reservoir pressure maintenance has to be done on a regular basis, and to prevent the brine and other chemicals and minerals that are in that water over on the land surface. They wanted to prevent subsidence of the land, wanted to also prevent pollution on the land surface, because they have had that. Okay? But all of this could have happened from subsurface withdrawal of fluids. The land elevations are closely monitored because the region is one of the most productive agricultural areas in the state. Yes, the Salton Sea itself is polluted. Nobody even goes in there anymore. People that go in there end up having medical issues. It didn't used to be that. I've got pictures of people playing there, putting their boats in the water and having a good old time. The state's mineral ownership in this area is relatively small compared to the geysers. Most of the lands around the Salton Sea are privately owned. The state has 4 active leases totaling 1,980 acres. 3 of those 4 leases totaling 1,940 acres. Interesting, huh? 3 of the 4 leases contain 1,940 acres. A total of 4 leases in 1,980, which is 40 acres more. But that's on all 4 leases. So that 4th lease has another 40 acres of land there. Okay? And that involved lands owned by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. The lands are used for wildlife habitat and hunting. And the state's geothermal lease is the state's geothermal lease is prohibited from using the surface. They're not allowed to pollute the surface of the lake or the surface of the land near the lake. Directional drilling is conducted from adjacent lands here. So they've got these drill points literally all over the Imperial Valley. The Salton Sea field has significant potential for further development. They're trying. They're really doing it now. Geologic evidence reveals that the magma chamber reservoir extends to the northwest beneath the Salton Sea. We knew that. We knew that. The magma chamber extends for quite a ways. Some estimates put the total potential for the field as 2,000 megawatts of power. Development of the Salton Sea geothermal field has been slowed by the high upfront costs involved with brine. Brine that we talked about as they took the steam out of the Salton Butte volcano. Just because of the area it's in, it's got salt in it. Okay? Just like those great big huge quarry projects they have over there on the what's that fault between San Andreas and the Mojave Desert? The I can't even remember that huge fault over there. Anyway, there's a huge borax plant over there, pulling borax out of the ground. But here they got brine they're trying to dispose of. But, like I said, the development of that huge geothermal plant in the whole field in the Imperial Valley has been slowed down by the costs of disposal of the brine, which is based with the geothermal power, and the lack of power transmission capacity. They don't have those great big huge power lines, those great big huge power towers. And this is basically an isolated region from north up into Los Angeles or west into San Diego. Okay? Basically right now they're providing power generation for the Imperial Valley, Imperial Gas and Electric Company. But they're trying to get into the Los Angeles market and over into San Diego as well. And that's very interesting. Does anybody have any questions? I know a lot of people might be perturbed at this. I was a little amazed myself. But overall, this is a clean environment. Okay? They're taking water that we otherwise would be possibly polluting our streams and rivers. They're injecting it into the volcano and pulling steam right back out for power. It's a non-pollution thing. It's a non-pollution thing. But here in the Imperial Valley, guys, we're still getting earthquakes, and that's going to continue. It's going to continue for probably infinity, because nobody is going to stop it. You can't stop a volcano, just like you can't stop earthquakes from happening, because it's a tectonic process. It's a tectonic process. It seems Africa is on a roll, literally. Okay? It looks like the African continent may split. Okay? And when I first said that to scientists about 2 years ago, they said, "You're out of your mind." And now they're admitting to it. You saw 2 earthquakes over in Africa today, a third over in the Persian Gulf. I consider that Northern Africa as well. There's a lot going on. Mark Stolt is saying borax is good for you, 20 mule team. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But that's what they're doing there, guys. Deep quake, Paul says that quake over just south of Panama is a big deal. A 5.9. It came out as a 6.2 and they downgraded it. If I'm not mistaken, it came out as a 6.2 and they downgraded the darn thing. It's unreal. Now, we will find out more about the Panamanian earthquake as we go through the night. We'll keep an eye on it. This may have been a much larger quake as we found out in the past. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. Does anybody have any questions for me? Deep Quake Paul, you're awesome. You're awesome. Well, I am busy putting out information for everybody. You're there giving us information about this quake that came through. I heard it come through on my device here. I always have that thing up where I can hear it. But folks, everybody needs to see it. Everybody needs to know it. We're working for the same goal, to provide information to all of us so we can all be prepared, so we can all make decisions that will benefit us during and after an emergency. We can save our lives, lives of ourselves and our family, and others, we hope. Anyway, before we end this program, please, folks, share this video with everyone around you. This video is probably one of the most important videos we've had because it details exactly what is going on at these volcanoes. It's detailing some of why we have all these earthquakes, as I pointed out to you in the Salton Sea last night. 2 of those earthquakes were right next to the power plant. The power plant. Another earthquake was right next to the drill points. Duh! Every time we have a drill point, it's a man-made earthquake fault. And seismic energy seeks it out and hits it. That's what happens. Okay. One of my favorite scriptures is in Romans chapter 8, verse 10. However, this time I'm going over to Paul's epistle to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. And I'm going on past that for just a minute. In verse 7 it says, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind." That's what God has given to us, guys. But in verse 8, this verse is just as important, if not more. "Be not thou for ashamed of the testimony of our Lord, nor of me his prisoner." They threw Paul in jail. "But be thou partaker of the afflictions of the gospel, according to the power of God." Be thou partaker of the afflictions of the gospel. Just because we have a testimony doesn't mean someone else doesn't. Because that's what happens. They may not have it. We talk to them and then they slap our hands a little bit. "Sorry, I'm not interested." Just like a young man that was arrested by the police for preaching the gospel on a sidewalk. 9 burly men, police officers, grabbed his microphone from him, grabbed his arms and pinned them behind him. Yes, he did resist. 18, 19-year-old man, and he's going, "What the heck are the cops doing? Taking me into custody." That's the afflictions of preaching the gospel. I told you a story a while back what happened to me in Sweden. Somebody called the cops because we were teaching children how to make moving animals out of paper, jumping animals out of paper. And we had their parents and the kids gathered around us. All we were doing is showing them something sweet and innocent that they would remember us by. We were missionaries preaching the gospel. Got called on a couple times. Nothing ever happened because we weren't breaking the law. But it is happening. I've read many accounts of people just having a prayer service, just having a gospel discussion in their homes, and getting hauled down to the police station. One of my ancestors was Swedish, and he was down in southern Sweden preaching the gospel. And the state government, the federal government of Sweden, refused to allow church services to occur during daylight hours. And so many of the churches met under the color of darkness at night, because the government refused to let them meet during the day. They closed the state churches in Sweden. Closed them. They closed all the churches back then. My relative, a distant relative, his name was John Forsgren from Sweden. They arrested him and deported him and sent him back to the United States. John Forsgren, one of my relatives. They arrested him and deported him back to the United States. It happens. It's happening in our day again. Evil men with twisted ideas, kidnapping children, not allowing us the freedom of religion or the freedom of speech. It's happened. We must stand up. We must stand up and be counted for who we are. We are God's children here on this earth, God's servants. Michael McKinney says, thank God we live in the United States. The United States is where this arrest of that young man happened. In the U.S. Go figure. But it happens, guys. You need to listen to the still small voice, the Holy Ghost, telling you things. Telling you things. Be prepared, guys. Things are going to get much, much worse. I read some information today. It was fairly astounding. And I was doing research. Things are going to get very, very bad very quickly now. All over the world. Not just in the U.S., but all over. Guys, I love you. I care. That's why we have these discussions. God is blessing us. God is blessing us. We're now over 1,500 subscribers here as well. I want everybody to keep checking their subscriptions. Make sure you're subscribed to this program. If you're not subscribed, please do so. And click that little bell icon. It's in a little tiny circle now. It used to be bigger. Click on that bell icon and a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air, but be advised, YouTube does not always notify you. So we tell people sometimes, usually between 6 and 7 p.m., we come on the air. Tonight I had an appointment and some other things happened that got in the way of it. But we still got on the air. Now folks, I love you. I care. Or I would not even do this. I just got through telling you why we're getting earthquakes. Some of the reasons why we're getting earthquakes down in the Salton Sea and down over at the geysers. It's also happening at Koza Volcano, the Devil's Kitchen. It's also happening in Reno, Nevada, just outside Reno, Nevada. Volcano out there. Geothermal facility. Geothermal facilities, we can thank Harry Reid, former senator from Nevada. He's the one that appropriated federal money to get those started so we could have more electricity. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. If anything happens, if anything were to occur between now and tomorrow, we will come on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information comes out, becomes available. I hope you have a good night. I care, guys. I care. Please share this program with your family, your extended family, your friends, your neighbors, social media contacts, and even the people you work with. Share it far and wide. Have a great night, guys. Sleep well. Be safe. And thank you all for your contributions as well. I don't think we got any super chats, but we haven't had any PayPal or Venmo for a while. But we have in the past. I love you. I care about all of you. All of your contributions to keep this show on the air. It means a lot. Thank you so much, guys. We will see you around the corner. Good night, everybody. God be with you till we meet again.